Some coding mistakes make your app crash, others make senior devs cry, but the worst ones silently keep you at the junior level forever. Let's escape the wild true loop before it's too late. If you're writing code that just works, dodging code reviews like an imposter in Among Us, or treating AI-generated code like your personal copy-paste buffet, here's your ticket. You're on the express train to permanent junior developer status. But don't worry, we're about to fix that. You see, the biggest trap junior devs fall into is thinking that writing code is the same as writing good code. If your entire approach is, as long as it runs, it's fine, you're setting yourself up for a career where you'll forever be fixing the same bugs, making the same mistakes, and rewriting the same broken logic over and over again. Code that just works isn't enough. It has to be readable, scalable, and maintainable. If you open your old project and it looks like an ancient cryptic text written by someone with a personal vendetta against future developers, you've got a problem. Clean up your code, write meaningful variable names, and stop hard-coding magic numbers like you're casting spells in medieval Python. And speaking of ignoring things, let's talk about the sacred ritual that separates juniors from seniors: code reviews. If your first reaction to a code review is, why are they pointing out small details? Well done, you're doing it wrong. Code reviews aren't personal attacks. They're free knowledge, delivered straight to your doorstep by people who have already made all the mistakes you're about to make. If a senior dev tells you something, don't just blindly fix it. Understand why they're saying it. The moment you start learning from feedback, instead of ignoring it, you're already miles ahead of the junior dev who refuses to improve. Now let's address the biggest secret of junior dev survival: AI-generated code. Tools like ChatGPT and Claude are revolutionary. But blindly accepting AI-generated code without understanding is the tech equivalent of letting a self-driving car take you off a cliff. Sure, sometimes it works. Most of the time, it introduces subtle bugs, security vulnerabilities, or inefficient solutions that only reveal themselves at the worst possible moment. AI is a tool, not a replacement for thinking. If you don't understand what a generated function does, don't paste it into production like a mindless code zombie. Read the documentation, experiment with the output, and refine it so that it actually fits your problem. AI can accelerate your workflow, but only if you're smart enough to verify what it's giving you. And while we're on the topic of bad habits, let's talk about testing. I know testing is boring, it takes extra time, but here's the thing. Whether you realize it yet or not, untested code is broken code. Skipping tests might feel like you're moving faster, but in reality, you're just borrowing time from your future self. And guess what? Future you is going to be really mad when a bug in production wakes you up at 2 a.m. Just write the tests. Even a few basic unit tests can save you from catastrophic failure. Of course, none of this matters if your entire career revolves around building the same CRUD app over and over again. If you're avoiding algorithms, design patterns, and system design because they aren't needed for web dev, you're setting yourself up for a rude awakening. At some point, you'll hit a wall where simple solutions stop working and scaling becomes a nightmare. That's when real engineering skills come into play. You don't have to become a competitive coding champion, but at least understand the basics of data structures, learn why design patterns exist, and get familiar with how scalable systems are built. Senior devs don't just write code, they architect solutions. If you never learn to think beyond writing functions, you'll never break out of the junior role. And finally, let's talk about the most underrated skill in programming: communication. You can write the cleanest, most efficient code in the world, but if you can't explain why you wrote it that way, you're going to struggle. Senior devs don't just know how to code, they know how to talk about code. If your PR comments look like ancient hieroglyphs, your documentation is non-existent, and you can't articulate your technical decisions, you're going to stay stuck. Start explaining your code out loud. Practice writing clear documentation, and actually contribute to discussions instead of just sitting silently and hoping nobody asks you a question. At some point, you have to stop thinking like a junior. Senior devs don't wait for someone to tell them what to do. They anticipate problems, write scalable solutions, and take responsibility for their code. The good news? You don't have to wait until you get a senior title to start thinking like one. The shift happens before the promotion. When you start caring about maintainability, testing, feedback, and architecture, you're already ahead of the game. Growth doesn't come from doing more of the same. It comes from doing things better. If you want to move beyond the junior plateau, shift your mindset, sharpen your habits, and act like the engineer you want to become. The rest will follow. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to keep leveling up your dev game. This was Code Rep. See you in the next one.